because it's on the computer speaker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Out of Nowhere with a fabulous guest of mine. It's quite a while since he's been on my show, but here he is again. His name is Argy Nosh. Argy is an author, on-air personality, seasoned aircraft pilot, hypnotherapist, UFO researcher, and cosmic explorer. A student
Uh-oh. You got muted.
Hello, Argy.
Yeah, hey there. Well, I can see you and kind of hear you.
How are you, my good?
So
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, I hope this will be okay. I can barely hear you, but I can anticipate.
Well, I can shout a bit louder.
Yeah,
What?
Okay, well, here we go.
You know.
All right.
Oh, now then, Argy. Can you hear me now?
I can barely hear you.
Have you got your mic on then?
I don't know where to turn up the volumes for the computer, so we'll.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear that, so we might as well just go with it.
Okay, Argy.
Yeah.
Tell us how to create the manifest mastermind and get the full benefit of law of attraction. How do you do that?
Well, first of all, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, that's the important thing. So then there we go. I've been talking about this a few times about how to set up a mastermind and how to engage law of attraction, because the two of them are very closely related to each other. And a lot of people have heard those terms, but they may not necessarily know what they mean and how to do it and how it works. We from time to time we hear people talk about it and they say, "Oh gosh, I'll do that." But in this mind-created universe, our mind and our brain does not always work in our favor unless we engineer it that way and we understand what we are doing. And we want to every one of us wants better things in the future. And the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that is not created with your hands. It is the hands and your feet, that is just the tools of the mind. Everything is starting in the mind, and that is in the brain and the cranium, the brain and the heart, and the non-local mind working together. And everything works so much better if we understand how something works. I'll guarantee you that there's a visual on that one. If I put you in the cockpit of a Boeing 747, how far do you think you'll be able to fly?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Argy.
Yeah. So if you understand it, then it works so much better. And the success sometimes is hard work, but it's not necessarily hard work with your hands. It is hard work in the mind. Because we've heard this saying, maybe your dad told you that work hard, Bob, and you'll be successful in life. It's a
Yes,
big flat lie, because if that was the case, if hard work make you successful, every garbage truck driver, every nurse, and every lumberjack would be millionaires.
correct.
No, it doesn't work that way. Whatever we allow to dwell in our mind the most is what we are going to have in our life, because we are living in a mind created, intelligent, and holographically generated and projected universe. So the mind is a big part of what you are able to create and what you see around you. I'll give you an example on that here a little bit later, because
Yeah,
this is hard to understand, that everything starts in your mind. And so let's ask ourselves, why does law of attraction not work every time? We think about it and we kind of intend for it, if we understand what intention is, and we visualize it and pray about it and stuff. No, that is not necessarily, because that may not transmit to where the wishes and the wants and the intention goes.
right.
It doesn't stay in your head, it goes out. And so so maybe we don't understand how it works, because if we do, we would be successful a lot more. And we have heard somebody say, you sit down, you meditate on something, and you wish for it. Wishes, that is not a plan. And we gotta, when we think of something, you heard the term thoughts are things, right? So when we
Yes,
think of something, we visualize something, we feel something like we already have it. That combination of thought and emotion and the rest of it leave your brain and goes into the quantum existence as a thing that has already been created. When it sits there, and then next time you sit down and do this, you think on the same thing, you follow the path to where you placed it last time, and now start visualizing that you already have it in your life around you. You're doing it, you're being it, you're having it, because the universal mind only works in present moments. It doesn't work in things that has not happened yet in the future.
right.
So now, when we understand that, we need to start concentrating on feeling like we already have it. And when we do, things start changing. This is basic neuroscience also. And the brain is designed to keep us safe. Whenever we start thinking about, especially doing things that is unfamiliar to the neural network in the brain, it puts up barriers. It starts
Why?
thinking on its own,
Why?
saying,
Aggie, why does it put barriers up then?
yeah, that's the big one, because it is it looks at the new thought of something that you want to do, and it's start thinking like, well, that we never done that before. Nobody else has. that you know have done that successfully before, and it start thinking, is it safe? So it start pulling back and create a barrier around the concept you're thinking of because it wants to keep you safe. What you're doing now is safe to the brain. But we got to go beyond the brain. We got to go into the mind because the mind is non-local. The mind reaches out there and find all kinds of situations where what you are thinking about worked fine. It is safe because other people have done it successfully. Now, if it is not in your neural network, the brain doesn't know that. So it creates the barrier. If we start thinking of what's out there, other people have done it, see other people doing it successfully, now the brain might accept it and remove the barriers so you are able to access what is outside of the neural network and then start pulling it back into the in your life.
Hey,
Now,
Argy,
yeah. Oops, you're muted.
right, I've done it again. Can negative thoughts attract negative outcomes?
Oh boy, say that again.
Can negative thoughts attract negative outcomes?
The messages will always have a destination. And if you design it to go into the quantum existence, that's where it will go. And there are things that you have in your brain that you can work on locally that does not necessarily involve the quantum existence and what is created out there. Because whatever is out there, if you created it, or maybe someone else thought of it and placed it there, when you think of it, thoughts have a certain vibration. When you think of that thing and then reach into the quantum existence for it, you start to match vibration with what is out there. Let's say you want a new car, a simple thing. Now think about what kind of car, what color, and everything that is about that car. And now reach into the quantum. Look at it as if it was in a different location and now see it coming into you. See yourself driving it, getting up to it, getting in it, starting it up and driving it away. Visualize all that in your mind and put feeling in it, put emotion, put vivid, colorful images, and intention. That means see yourself driving it. That is your intention. And then feed it with love. Really enjoy yourself. And then see somebody else also enjoying it with you. See someone driving in the other, sitting up front with you in the other seat. See them smiling, enjoying it, because it is always better when other people also enjoy it with you. The universe is a little more hesitant when it comes to selfishness.
Yeah.
Share things. And remember, when you ask for something, we are sending it into the mind-created universe as a kind of a bubble of substance, because thoughts are things, visualizations are things, and it is created. And then you pull it back. remember also, it is just as easy for the universe to help you create in your existence big things as it is small things. The small things are pretty simple to, let's say you want to do something on a weekend. Yeah, you can go do that. That that works fine. But what about the big things? Let's say that, okay, here's something that actually is theoretically possible. Let's say that you wanted your own
Right.
island in the middle of the Atlantic. You wanted your own island that you want a home on in the middle of the Atlantic. We know there aren't any islands in the middle of the Atlantic unless up north, the Faroe Islands. And so, how do we do that? That is pretty difficult, wouldn't you think? So,
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I just want to ask you a question as well. How can
yeah,
I how
but
can I reprogram my subconscious mind to align with what I want to attract?
well, first of all, remember the sleeping prophet, the Edgar Casey. He said Atlantis will rise again out of the ocean in the Atlantic because it was there once and it will come back up.
Mm.
So there is a possibility for something that he saw in the future. Now, if we start manifesting something like that in our mind, putting it into the quantum existence, and then we never know what would happen. It could be the time that Edgar Casey talked about, so it could come up. But on the other hand, there is another way, and that is we have several timelines going into the future, and we are in all of them, or many of them, from where we are right now. So there could be another timeline where that island already is. Now, let's go back and look at that, because if you are in this timeline right now, the more you start concentrating on that island, being there, that may be in a different timelines, and you could end up switching timeline. And then you will end up majority of your consciousness will then be in another timeline, so you will end up living in that timeline where that island already is. I know this sounds ridiculous, but the quantum physics speak to this, and they are saying it is possible. You're muted again. So we can think about it, and the thing about it is that most people, they don't even know what they want. I've heard people say, yeah, whatever happens, happens. I'll guarantee you it will happen if that's the attitude. Something will happen and you may not like it. So we have also, when we come here, we have a life contract. There are things we agreed to do or be that we agreed to before we were born. And and this something that is is hard to get around. Whatever is in that contract you agreed to, you probably will end up doing, though there are ways to modify the contract. But know what you want is very important. And then go visit it, think on it. This is what I'm telling people to create the future. you sit down and you decide of what you really want. Then visualize it in vivid, colorful images. And those images create feelings in you, feeling of happiness, feeling of joy for sharing it with people or whatever. Have a strong feeling and an emotional feeling about it. And then see yourself doing it or being it or having it. That's the intention. And then feed it with love. And take that bubble that you created there, place it in the future. Let's say at a Christmas party. And then every day you sit down and meditate on it, you see yourself at that Christmas party, standing around toasting what you have created. Now, that is a symbol of success. So, what you're going to end up with, you won't have it right now, but you will have it by the time you get to that Christmas party, because very likely you have done this every day. You grow your path to it. So when the Christmas party comes, all you do is you walk into it and it is yours. And it
Steph,
also helps to do some work in the meantime to help make it happen.
right, Steph is asking a question here. Argy, do these timelines run consecutively to hours? Thank you.
Yeah, they are next to you right now. They are consecutively, I think they're probably pretty close to the same time on your watch, on your clock. So if you had a time slippage, you may go sideways into another timeline, but you are pretty much in the same time if you look at your clock. And that's the way that quantum physics talk about it, because you are stepping into another one. Now, in other universes, there may be a different schedule for things. But in this universe, I would think I would think quantum mechanics is correct on that. So I'm I'm going to speak a little more about the law of attraction, and then I'm going to go into how you pull that together with a mastermind to make it work
Okay.
much more often. And this this life contract is kind of a tricky thing, though there is a way to modify it, and that is something that can be done if you. Let's say that you came here with having agreed to experience how to have cancer. That's a pretty rough thing, and in a rational stupidity, some people actually do that, but it's for the experience. So let's say that you need to have the experience in order to fulfill the contract. Let's say now that you had an uncle, he had cancer. If you see people around you that have an illness like that, get in their mind, get to understand what it feels like, how it works for them, how their life is. So now you are getting the experience from somebody else's experience, which may, in your case, you get the experience from somebody else, so you don't have to live it yourself. So there are ways to modify things that way. And you could probably, if you see a lot of people around you with illnesses like that, get in their mind and find out how it works. Maybe there was something in your contract that you could avoid that way.
Yeah.
And I let me ask you. I'm going to ask the listeners a question, and the question is: what would you start tomorrow morning if you knew you could not fail?
Well,
That is
that's a good question.
a very serious question. And what I will also say is that a lot of people, when you heard this question now, things are flying through your head. Oh, yeah, I would start a business. I would do this. I would do that. But wait at least 24 hours while you think about it before you settle on an answer. Because I guarantee you, you don't know how to think big enough. Find something that will benefit you and mankind that is so big that it scares the daylight out of you. And then you go ahead and start breaking it up into sections. Well, I want to do this small thing first because that will support the big one. And then you'll do this small thing because that also support the big dream. And you start with education and you start working with experimentation maybe and finding other people to work with, and you kind of work around the thing that you came up with. Now you start feeding this information into the universal mind or the quantum existence. It's there for you. So when you have a lot of the details figured out, now you can go to the big thing that you came up with and say, I'm ready. Suddenly, you could find that people come into your life that say, yeah, I know how to do that. Let's do it. Let's create a partnership. Let's do this. So the universe have a way to get in the game with you and help you create the things that you cannot do on your own. Because a lot of the big things may not be possible on your own. You may need technical knowledge that you don't have, but other people do. So you bring them in to your dream. If they have the same dream as you, it could be a good partnership. And then whenever you create things like that, start journaling. Write it down. Write everything down. Something happens when you write it down. And do that every day. Another thing, to create a vision board. But all the things that you want, take a big board or something, stick it on the wall and put pictures on it and stand in front of it every day, staring at it. See yourself doing these things on the board or having these things on the board. Just work with the board and create a sensation of happiness, joy, and emotion, strong emotion while you stand there looking at these things. That feeds what is out there in the universal mind that you have already placed there. And just remember, don't try to do everything alone. No man is an island. You got to have help sometimes. And let me tell you also how this can be done a lot easier. That is by creating a mastermind. A mastermind is when two or more minds are united in harmony. They create a third mind. That third mind has the potential mind power of the two or more of them multiplied by each other. So now, Let's say that if 1,000 people get together and think on something that they want to create and focus on it,
Yeah.
all of them at the same time, they join their minds together, and now you have the combined mind power of 1,000,000 minds. And that energy is very powerful when you put it into the universal mind or the quantum existence, and then you go back and pull it into the physical. So if you do that, you don't have to have 1,000 people. You don't have to have 10 people. Let's say you're a single guy living by yourself. You can
Mm.
create a mastermind of many minds around you. Visualize yourself. Well, maybe I should say first, the easiest way to create a mastermind is to use family. Most families, they want the same thing.
Mm.
So explain to the family maybe that we should get together at least a couple of times a week, sit down and visualize and think on something that we want. Well, let's say that you have a car is on its last leg, or should I say the last tire. Then visualize the car that you want, and then go down to the dealership and test drive one. Take pictures, bring it home, put it on the vision board. Now you start creating the environment around the creation of that car. But if you're by yourself, see yourself sitting at a table. Let's say you wanted to create an invention. Okay, see
Yeah.
yourself sitting at the table. On your left, you have Nikola Tesla. On your right, you have Albert Einstein. And now put 3 or 4 other people around the table with you. They don't even have to be alive physically anymore. Their energy is in the quantum existence and totally available to you. Now you start telling them, this is what I want to do. This is how it should work. And I need your input. Then look at Nikola Tesla next to you. Visualize him sitting next to you. Ask him, how would you
Right.
do this? And then be quiet. You may not get an answer right away. And then turn to Albert Einstein. How would you solve this challenge on how to create this? You may get an idea, you may get a thought, or you may get nothing. And you can ask each one of them. And then when you leave, thank them for being there. And then be very observant of your thoughts from there on, because time and space does not work the same way outside of the physical. They may not have gotten the message before, let's say, 2 days from now, and they give you the answer 2 days from now. You may get a thought on how to do that thing that you want. The thought might show up in your mind for about 3 to 5 seconds. It's up to you to catch it. You should catch it so that you can combine it with some of the other scientists around the table. Okay, there we are back. All right. So you can
Yeah, great
actually,
idea.
yeah. So you can work with people that are alive and with you, or if they are departed from the physical, you can still work with them because their mind is available. There are people today that is channeling these entities that has died hundreds of years ago. Their energy is still in the universal mind and totally accessible. So if you think about that, The mastermind that you create by these people is multiplied by the number of you. Let me give you, this is an example that is probably the biggest one I can think of. And that is about 20 some years ago, Art Bell, on the Coast to Coast AM radio
Yeah, I
show.
do, yeah.
He he did an experiment because they were so dry in Texas. They had not had any rain for about 4 months. There were brush fires everywhere. Towns were running out of water. And he talked to his listeners, which was about 20 million people back then. He talked to the listeners and he said, let's all visualize rain over Texas. It started that night later, and the next day there were thunderstorms all over Texas. And the weather forecasters came out and said, we are dumbfounded. This should not have happened because there were no moisture in the computer models to create rain. But it did. That mastermind of the people created that rain. And I have an example from myself. Nori Love and I, we created a mastermind we've done for almost 5 years now. And one of the examples was, there was a lady that was on her deathbed in the hospital with COVID. And the next day they were going to start to put her on the ventilator. And of course, that medication that shuts down your breathing and all that do away with you. So
yeah, ventilator.
yeah, see, she was pretty much on her way down the tubes. And we wrapped our mastermind around her and the hospital, and we visualized her walking out of the hospital. And at the end of that, I kind of flippantly said, oh yeah, she'll be home tomorrow. I really didn't mean it. I just said it. The next day in the late afternoon, her husband called me and he said, my wife is home. From being on her deathbed the day before to the next day, she had recovered to perfect health. The doctors told her that you recovered so fast, there was no need for us to keep you anymore. That's the power of a mastermind. And that's
That
what...
yes, very.
And that's why
It proves,
we really need to
it
do
works.
it. Yeah, say again?
It proves it works.
Yes, it is. And the reason this works is because thoughts are things, visual images are things, emotion create an energy field that are things. We take that, what we create here, put it into the quantum existence and the universal mind, and it is stored there for us to bring it home later. Because we live in a mind-created universe. It's self-aware, intelligent, holographically projected universe. Now, let me give you an example on that. That'll drive it home so you actually will understand it. And that is that I'm a hypnotist. If I put you in a soft chair and talk to you for about 10 minutes, and then I tell you that when I snap my finger and bring you back out, you will see an elephant standing next to you in the room. Okay? Then I snap my finger and bring you back out. If I did my job right, you would see that elephant. You can reach out and touch the snout on it. You can feel the rough skin in your hand. You can smell him. You can hear him breathing. What happened to the real world? Did it go away? Yeah, it went away. Now there is a problem though. I can't see the elephant, but you can. because there is no elephant there. But I convinced you that your subconscious mind will accept the fact that there is an elephant there.
Mm.
And you can feel it. Your hand can feel the skin. There is no difference between this elephant and the world you see around you today. It is only that the world you see around you today is much more elaborate because it has been accepted as truth by everybody. But you accept the elephant. So in concept, there is no difference between the mind-created elephant and the mind-created computer you're sitting at right now. So it really, once you understand that there are no limitations to the power of the mind, you can start creating some really neat things. And this is something that the listeners out there, I'm sure many of them have tried the law of attraction. Now add the mastermind to it. As a family, sit down, decide what you want, and what does it look like? What does it feel like? How would it be having it? What do we do with it? How would we enjoy it? All those things. Decide it beforehand. Create this bubble of creation. And then go back and visit it every day and say, we enjoy having it. Feel like you have it right now. Because universe work in present moments. So if you do that, and then create the vision board and do all the other things that I mentioned, you're going to start seeing some changes. These changes will show up in one form or another. But remember, the feeling is the prayer. The feeling and the sensation of loving it is the most important part of the creation of new things. So there's a saying out there also that says, people who pray together stay together. There's something to that.
Mm.
You
That's
have
true.
prayers, you have quiet contemplation, and you have law of attraction, you have manifestations, different words for the same thing. So prayers work if it is done right, but most prayers don't work because we're not doing it right. The church will tell you what to say in a prayer, but they won't tell you how to do the prayer. They say get on your knees. Well, I wouldn't do that because then you come to the universe with an attitude of lack and insuperiority. You look up at some deity that is beyond you. You are asking for favors. The universe does not work that way. That is a big reason why most prayers don't work. When you ask, make it a demand. When you come to the universal mind as an equal and say, well, I've already created, it's here, I'm going to take it home now, then things change. Because when in prayer, the words you say are basically worthless. Words don't mean a thing because think of where the prayer goes. It goes out of the physical into a quantum existence. In there is no air to carry the words. What is important is that the words are okay. It's the feeling and the visualized images and the love and the intention that goes with the word into the universal mind and tell it that I have a new car sitting here. I need it now. When you come to the universal mind as an equal, that is what the people do that is very successful with law of attraction and manifestations and prayer. It makes a big difference. So, whoops, there you disappeared again. Uh-oh. You keep fading in and out, Bob. Oops, you are muted somehow.
So
Well, there you are.
I'm still here.
Yeah, so you keep fading in and out on me. Is that that affect the recording also? Oops.
We're back on again. It's just
Okay.
clicking every so often. I don't know why.
Do I drop off also? No, we got some interference here.
10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So where have we got to now?
I can see you and hear you pretty good, so we're good right now. If you can see me.
Well, your video's still off.
Okay. Yeah. But think about what I talked about. The big decisions need a little more than just a fleeting thought. They need to be worked on. They need to be visualized so it becomes familiar to the neural network that will remove the barriers between you and the universal mind. If you, I did a big one when I left Europe, but I kept in my mind, I kept seeing myself sitting in the cockpit of an airplane flying. I kept that for a year or so. I visited that image every day. So it became comfortable. It became familiar to the subconscious mind that, oh, well, he kind of looked like a pilot. So that's why I left Norway and came to the United States to become a professional pilot. I allowed the mind to create the situation which made it possible. That's what people should do. You just don't sit down and think about something you like and you try it 2 or 3 times and then you tell yourself, oh, well, that didn't work. No, it may take a little more than that. Because once you make it familiar to the subconscious mind, the universal mind will get in the game with you and help you create it. because you have already created it in your mind, placed it into the universal mind. It is already there. It's created. It is yours. Bring it home. Go tell the universal mind, I have a car sitting here. I need it now. And I thank you. And feel the gratitude and the nice feelings and the emotion for driving it. Feel yourself driving it. To create big things, it takes a little work. That's the one that people miss a lot. There is no pill that you can take that'll do that for you. I sat in the living room of a billionaire one time and he said, when I start a new project, I don't do anything before I have worked it all out in my mind first. I know who I'm going to work with. I know where it's going to be. I know how it's going to look like. I know how it's going to work. He says, I work it out all in my mind first. And then I hand it over to people I trust that I know can do the work. We can do the same thing. See ourselves already driving it, because then, driving the car, then all the things that had to happen up to the point where you're driving it had to fall into place. So it's up to us to go back to work, maybe do things a little different. We need to think ahead a little bit more. So how are we doing on time, Bob?
About 5 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me ask that my favorite question again. What would you start tomorrow morning if you knew you could not fail? When you ask that question, things will come to mind. After 24 hours, come up with something that you want to do. And if you want to engage the mastermind, come and visit the one that Nori and I put together. We'll help you create it. We can help you create that within our mastermind. So if you want to be part of that, come and check it out. Send us an email to themastermindconnection@gmail.com. themastermindconnection@gmail.com. I'll send you some information and a link so you can come and check it out on Sunday.
If anybody wants to get in touch with you as well, is that the same procedure?
Yeah, there is. We do this every Sunday, and this Sunday will be a good one because they all are. And beyond that, also, let me see. I have. Yeah, here we go. Okay. I wrote a book that will teach you much more so how to do these things. That is the book, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. It'll teach you how to use your mind in ways that would normally be impossible. It will also teach you the fact that you can reverse your aging process. Because the Nobel Prize was given for the invention of that, and we were never told about it. I am doing it and seem to do some good for me. So I I highly recommend it. I wrote it for the doers of the world.
Where can you get that book?
We can go to Amazon, put my name in there, and it will come up. And
And
once you,
what days do you do your radio show?
oh yeah, yeah, and if you get that book, you get in touch with me when you start reading it because I am totally available to everybody that get the book. And also, Nori Love and I, we have a radio and TV and a podcast combined, syndicated on 44 different platforms. It's called Broadcast Team Alpha. A good way to see it is on YouTube or our website. Go to our website is broadcastteamalpha.com. And also, we are on most other platforms out there.
And what time is it?
Oh, we are do a live show at 7 o'clock East Coast U.S. time on Thursday, and
That'll
I do also a
be 12
paranormal.
o'clock UK time.
Say again?
That'll be 12 o'clock UK time at midnight.
Yeah, that's about right. I also do a paranormal show on Sunday night at 7 o'clock East Coast time, and that is well, I cover a lot of stuff paranormal, but also success-oriented things, and so have a look at it on YouTube. It's a good place to look at it.
Sounds like it as well.
Yep.
And see, we always have a great show with you, Argy.
Say that again?
We always have a fantastic show with you.
Oh, well, I had fun. Yep.
You know, I love this law of attraction.
It's always fun being with you here on this one. We get into every corner of the universe sometimes.
We do, yes, we can do, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. So people can listen to it and find more information out about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might not suit everybody, but a lot of people will find it very interesting and they will have a go at it.
Yep. All right. And yeah, send me a link too so I can help you give it legs.
Yes, I will do. Yes. Thank you for that.
All right.
Yes. So thank you, Aggie, for coming on the show.
Oh. All right.
Let's try to find rules on next Wednesday. Just bide with me a minute.
Okay.
It's DJ Thomas next Wednesday. At 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific, and 7 p.m. in the UK. That's next Wednesday, the 7th of May.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will do, yeah. Joanne said, spiritual science, higher consciousness, thinking of how to access the universe, consciousness, Arginos. Because Mason was in chat room, he just wanted to know what they called your book, but Joanne's put it in there. And she said it's on Amazon. So she's got it all worked out. And I think she's bought your book already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just watch the videos on YouTube, both on the live show and the videos. There's a lot of education there. And also in the book, I can, if you want me to there, I'll work more privately with you also. I spend a lot of time with the people that bought the book. So yes. We can work together on some of these things and come and join the mastermind. Send me the email is themastermindconnection@gmail.com. And then
that's great.
Sharing something that is bigger than yourself.
Yeah. And it's very interesting. And I'm sure the listeners out there will try and get on your show,
Yep.
the Mastermind.
Yep. Yep. That is. We've been doing it for 5 years, so we get some phenomenal results. One of them was creating rain out of almost clear skies in a matter of an hour and a half. That was interesting.
Yeah, it's great what you can do and to heal people as well.
Yep. Yep.
And Steph just wrote in chat room, love listening to Argy. He is so knowledgeable on so many subjects.
Well, I've been around a while, so you learn a few things.
Gosh, you do. Gosh, you do. Right, I'll let you go, Argy. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Everybody in the chat room always loves you coming on the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And then they're always saying, when's he on again?
There you go.
That's great.
All right. Well,
Joanne's just put, great show. Thanks, Bob and Argy.
you're welcome. I had fun. All right.